It's Monday night. There's Bears football. Do you care? We'll find out right now. CHGO Bears pregame begins. Welcome into the CHGO Bears pregame. Bears and Vikings tonight at US Bank Stadium. The house.
Yeah.
The house
Yeah.
that Kevin Warren built.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I'm just going to say
the house that Warren built.
That's right. Hey, you know, it tastes like
I want
Miller
a
time
house.
tonight, too.
It sure does.
Tastes like Miller time. We are presented by Miller Lite. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/CHGO football, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. We got the Miller Lite flowing tonight. We got Monday night. I don't care how bad the Bears are. As long as there is football on, that's a good thing. First time on Monday Night Football for Caleb Williams.
That's right.
It's really exciting, and I'm I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm trying to figure out what to tell Awesome 29 March, who's in London, and it's a 1 a.m. or somewhere in the UK, I should say, and it's a 1 a.m. kickoff there. Does he stay up to watch it? Yes, you do, Awesome 29 March. You're here. You will be up. You only live once, and this could be the night that the Bears end their 7-game losing streak, and you want to be there.
Well, it is a kind of a bizarre day, right? Like it's felt, if you're in Chicago, it has been kind of bizarre. Like it kind of feels like spring today. It doesn't feel like football weather. It's the middle of December. It doesn't feel like a game day for Bears fans, really. Like it's a Monday night football game, but they're out of it.
There's 2 games on tonight,
right?
too,
There's
which
2
makes
games
it weird.
on, right? The Bears were officially eliminated from playoff contention last night, which at this
By
point,
the way,
No pressure. No pressure.
congrats
no
for trying. It was a good run. You were in the hunt.
I know we stayed in the hunt graphic for so long, even though they were just like charity, giving it out as charity. But it is kind of like this odd feeling as Bears fans. And then the other thing too is like we've been here so many times before in December where the team is out of it, but yet now it does feel like, and it does feel like we have a quarterback. So like that is the reason to tune in, is to see what Caleb Williams can do for the rest of the season as he continues to develop and do things that no rookie quarterback has ever done for the Chicago Bears. But the reason it leaves a bad taste in your mouth is this season could have been so much more than what it is. And so that just leaves you disappointed.
On that nauseating note, let's go to the opening topic of all our pregame shows, which is what matters most. And Adam Hoge, I would like you to kick off tonight. What matters most in this 4-9 trying to end a 7-game losing streak? Will they actually show up and play football Monday night contest in Minnesota?
Well, I'm a little nervous, guys, about Caleb Williams staying upright. Look, Braxton Jones is in a spot where I'm not sure he's the left tackle next year. And I guess you could argue if he's not the left tackle, one of the scenarios is because Karan Amagaji becomes the left tackle, which sounds like a great scenario. If, that means competition and somebody won out, that would be not necessarily a bad thing. But based on what we saw from Karan Amagaji, and probably more so what we haven't seen, which is him playing football, I'm a little nervous tonight. I'm a little nervous about that situation. We found out yesterday Braxton Jones got a concussion a week after the game. That was a new one for me. I'd never that.
See, and no one's going in on them on this, but hold on a second. They could have said that this happened in practice.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that. They said it happened against the Niners, and they haven't been doing any practice of any intensity because it's late in the year, and so now they figured it out.
It's a little weird.
That's bizarre.
I agree with you. Like, I mean, I don't know if it matters. But
Well,
it's a little weird.
It does when you combine it with what happened with Jaquan Brisker as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so what is their processes trying to, evaluate
Well, I
those
agree
things?
with you. It's like it almost makes it weirder that they're like, yeah, it happened last week. Whereas to your point, if it just like, hey, we added Braxton Jones to the injury report, he reported concussion symptoms this morning, everyone would be like, okay, it happened in practice.
Right, and they went out of their way to let us know that it was happening in the Niners game, which is like and I don't know, I'm not a concussion expert, but you're telling me no symptoms showed up all week long, and then they
I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but it's probably more likely that there were some symptoms, and it's on the player at some point to report them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
these concussions.
How's this? Can they do one thing right?
That's a different subject altogether. Anyway, getting back to what matters most. Please, for the love of God, keep Caleb Williams healthy tonight. That to me is what matters most. I would like to see him play the entire season. So
I can't decide if this is the Hoge jinx or like
Yeah,
a reverse jinx, because now you've spoken it. So like,
well, should I just go all in now?
I don't know what that.
I'm pretty sure
that entails. So be careful with whatever you say next.
Well, I might need to double check this, or maybe we can have Gary Ross or somebody running this behind the scenes.
research team.
I am pretty sure. Yeah, our research team of Gary
AKA
Ross.
Gary.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am pretty sure in my 14 years of covering the Bears, I have yet to see a quarterback play every single game of the season.
Good God. Like, you just can't help yourself.
You
and then that
asked me.
evil little chipmunk laugh.
You asked me to do it.
I did not. I
This is
said
on
be careful
Greg.
with your words.
That's on Greg.
Jesus.
Okay. I don't want to be the voice of reason here because that's not my role on this show. But what you two say as far as jinxing and not jinxing has nothing to do with anything. So we're going to move along. Look, for me, how are you done with what matters? Have we hit it? I think we have. I think we've hit it. It's funny that I've heard this said. When I was coming up with my what matters most today. Then I heard about 17 people say it afterwards. So it's all the same thought process around of those watching the Bears. Like, will they actually have a pulse tonight? Are you going to show up? You have had 3 games where it's you did not show up. I swear I don't think they were in Arizona. The CHGO Bears crew was there. We hung out. I don't think the Bears were there. I'm not sure that the Bears were there at Soldier Field when New England was in town. And they certainly weren't in San Francisco.
That Patriots game is one of the more remarkable results.
Do
you know that the Cardinals beat the Patriots comfortably yesterday? And our guy Bo Brack at PHNX was like, everybody in Arizona's mad. They don't think they play well. And then I heard Bill Simmons on his pod. He's a Patriots fan, obviously. He's like, honestly, the Cardinals weren't that impressive.
Right. I mean,
you scored 3 points against the Patriots.
Well, I'll give you one thing for the Braxton Jones people out there that are not respecting him. The 2 games that he missed this year was the Cardinals game and the Patriots game when he had the knee injury. So maybe it just all comes down to Braxton Jones, but that is way too convenient of a excuse for the rest of the guys not showing up. So yes, my what matters most: show up. Division game, you just played them. They have the formula for Caleb. Let's see.
That's so sad.
Like, are you going to? No moral victories. This is a professional football, and you've lost 7 in a row. They got to win a game here. All that, but like, let's see some fight. Let's see some resolve. Let's see something from this team other than I can't wait to go to Cancun. We might have to do Shaq and Charles and the NBA on TNT. If the Bears lose out, they don't get to go to Cancun. We got to send them to Galveston. They've got to go to Galveston and swim in the dirty water. No Cancun for anybody. You're going to Galveston.
Like it.
Why does everyone say Cancun, by the way? Can't these? We can do better in Cancun.
We can, sure.
Too busy there.
You're not going to Hawaii. You're not
peaceful.
going to St. Bart, St. Kitts, St. Thomas, St. anything. You're going to Galveston. You act like you're at the beach on some muddy thing with some dirty water.
Actually, sending them to Cancun would kind of be a punishment, if you're not into that scene. It's too busy. A lot of young people.
There's
A lot of headaches.
no. Cancun's great.
Foam
Don't kid
parties.
yourself.
Actually, it sounds kind of nice.
Galveston.
Yeah, you sound like you want to go to Cancun.
They need to go to. They honestly shouldn't even get to go.
My scene.
They shouldn't even go to Galveston. They should be sent to like, how about the Iowa-Illinois border? Chill out at the
Quad Cities.
Quad Cities. You're going to the Mississippi.
They got because don't they have a
should have to
riverboat
go.
there?
They should have to go watch Northwestern basketball for the rest of the year.
Wow.
All right. So what is
Beat
my
Georgia Tech yesterday.
nice work?
Thank
nice
you.
work. Nice work.
Thank you.
I-
8-3.
So for me, my what matters most, when we were filling out, what we, when we did our rundown, I put nothing because I was pouting because I'm upset about how this season has gone and this team
Nothing
and
matters.
this team has broken me. Chicago sports is breaking me day by day, little by little, and at some point I'm just gonna crumble into a ball of nothingness. But if I'm gonna try to answer this seriously, what matters most today is. This is the first opportunity the Bears have to play a team they've already played this season. They've got 3 division games coming up. So adjustments. Because if you look at the first time Caleb Williams in the offense played Minnesota, there's 340 yards passing for Caleb and 2 touchdowns. And yes, some of it was in a miracle comeback at the end, but they found some success against Brian Flores and some of the looks they were giving at the line of scrimmage and how they handled his blitz, and some of the different looks of dropping all these guys back and only rushing 2 and then doing the opposite on the next play and things of that nature. So, how they adjust to Brian Flores, how they adjust off Brian Flores' adjustments are going to be key. So Thomas Brown, how do you adjust from a team you've seen here just a few weeks ago? How do you adjust, from a bad loss last week against San Francisco? How do you bounce back, more importantly? And then, of course, Caleb Williams. How does he continue to develop and adjust now off a team here on a Monday night stage that he saw a few weeks ago and had some success from? So I think that's, for me, adjustments is what matters most.
It is. I would agree with you, Gregory. It's the most interesting thing for me in tonight's game as far as are they going to completely shut down the Bears offense or are we going to show that, actually we could play this much better? Because,
That's kind of where I'm at. I think the Vikings are going to score a lot of points tonight. It's just a matter of, is there a scenario which the Bears can
Keep up.
lose by 10 and we're still on the postgame show talking about how great of a night it was for Caleb?
Well, how about what matters most? Baldy dropped the stat. He said only the Giants have scored less first half points than the Bears this season. How about they start a game off well for once?
Well, let's not get greedy,
Yeah,
Steve.
that's
All right,
a
that's
little-
too much.
That's a little
We'll just do the
ridiculous.
second half thing. All
I
right.
think
Well,
that
but
they're going to score a touchdown.
We're
in
a
the
second
first
half
quarter.
team, meaning we don't play in the first half. We just wait for halftime.
And sometimes don't show up all together. It just depends. By the way, your inactives tonight. Roshan Johnson's out again with his concussion. Braxton Jones, add him to the concussion list. Ryan Bates, concussion. Jervon Dexter, I guess I was a little surprised that he was out for this game, but he didn't practice all week.
got the knee injury.
I just saw him walking around the house the other day.
I saw him too. I didn't think he was
I
hurt.
have 2 injured knees. I walk everywhere I go.
But it's noticeable. It makes everybody
Well,
feel
that's
pain.
actually a good point. It's a little different playing football. So you couldn't play a football game today.
Right.
Yeah.
You can walk with the injuries.
Anyway, Noah Sewell's also inactive. Amir Speed. Notable for the Vikings, Stephon Gilmore, 13th year corner, is out. And then a couple former Bears. Do you remember Brett Rippon from times that were
Sure
so
do.
glorious, hopeful days of
Do
August?
you remember?
Remember those days of August when Brett Rippon was ripping it all over the field in the
Oh,
preseason?
man, he almost had Tyson Bajan's job. Carm was getting nervous
Those were
after the
days.
Hall of Fame game when
Yeah.
Rippon was ripping it. Tyson was floundering. Carm sweating. He
Is
felt
this-
the footsteps coming.
Is this the moment where I remind everybody that the best player on the Chicago Bears is the backup quarterback?
Okay. Please don't ever have that moment again.
He's been having that moment for 2 years, Adam.
Just, we'll see what he does when 17 gets his chance to shine this year if it happens. I hope it doesn't happen, but if he does,
Way too much of that talk here in this first segment of this pregame show.
it just lasts. It was for 10 seconds. This guy, you just dialed up the Brett Rippon. And by the way, I would love to go back to simpler times when we were debating Brett Rippon versus Tyson Bagent, and the Bears actually had a chance for a good season.
Remember when Dan Feeney was the Bears center?
I do.
He's inactive for the Vikings tonight, too. So there you go.
Okay.
I got an idea of
And
how
Blue
it'd be-
Dan, I wasn't. He says it was Earth, Wind, and Fire when I was doing my Do You Remember? But that was Phil Collins, not Earth, Wind, and Fire. But both great bands.
Okay.
Don Burr underlining that nobody has more injuries than Detroit. Sucks to be you guys, Don. I told you that last year you shouldn't
all
have
you're
won that.
talking, Don. This is on you. This is all you. Be coming in our chat all season, talking the way you've been talking. It's karma.
I still think the Lions are getting to the Super Bowl.
We'll talk about that
You're
later.
the one.
Hey, by the way, our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. But first, our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to elevate your fall, winter. We're almost in winter. Isn't that crazy?
We are in winter.
I don't know. You said it was spring earlier. So it's all 4 seasons today. That sometimes happens in Chicago. Regardless, Sunnyside is here for you. Your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Shop in the store nearest you throughout Illinois for expert guidance from their staff or select from quality lines like Cresco or Florical. And one of the reasons why you want to get in on this now before the end of the month is because Sunnyside's Scratch and Stash is back again this holiday season. Receive a scratch-off card every time you shop now through December 31st or while supplies last. Every card is a winner. You could win big, like 50% off or $100 off your next purchase. Hurry in to see what you win. You could also visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
That's right. I want to give another shout out to our presenting sponsor for the night, our guys over at Miller Lite. You better join in next time, Carm, because a lot's changed over the years. One thing that hasn't, the great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't changed is that it's less filling. So what is the best thing about original light beer? Well, Miller Lite sparked this debate in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. Great taste or less filling, Mark Carman. Well, Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/CHGO football, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. Make sure you go get yourself some Miller Lite.
Excellent job, Gregory. Really liked it. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. No doubt about it. We got big time guests coming up on this show, by the way.
Okay, no, we have to back up to our pre-show meeting here.
Why? What did I do?
Remember the 3 different times we did triple checking, quadruple
Did I
checking?
not do it right?
You flipped it.
I did not do it. I did not flip anything.
You flipped it.
I did not flip it.
Who did you? What? I wasn't listening. He did this. Did the read?
Yeah.
Did he say that Corey Woot's coming
No.
up right now?
I didn't say anything.
Well, he put it in the tweet.
Oh, he flipped it on the
He
tweet.
flipped it on the tweet.
Yeah, I have both Nick and Corey texting
And
me right now asking who's
They're
supposed to call
both
in at what time.
confused because of the tweet that went out, even though the rundown's been consistent.
I triple
Slack's
checked.
been
I
consistent.
triple checked.
And after he triple checked, which was actually his first checking, it was just he didn't hear the first 2 checks. Then he got it wrong.
And then I tweeted it wrong.
He flipped it.
It's just too much responsibility to give to a complete dumbass.
I agree.
I blame you guys.
Well,
on me.
before we
Would
go
you
any
let
further-
a kid start driving a car? No, you wouldn't. But you guys have allowed me to do things that I shouldn't be allowed to do.
Believe me, I'm trying to reverse time and get back to where we should be. I'm just losing the battle. Shout out to my guy Rodney Dent, who's in the chat. Sackman's coming. I'm your man Dent. He's here, and he wants to hear from Nicholas Moreano, who is up in Minnesota doing the dirty work of covering this fine football game. Right, Nick?
Yeah, guys, I tried to get away from the open air press box here, so hopefully you guys can hear me. But I heard you guys mix everything up, but I'm glad that I'm on and we're figuring things out.
Yeah, we
Did-
didn't
Yeah,
mix you
Carm
up.
did. It's okay.
You took a picture of Karan Amagaji against the goalpost, Nick. Were you taking that picture because you were worried about him, that he wasn't going to make it to game time? Because I don't know. You made me nervous that Karan's not ready to go.
No, I mean, I just took it because I had a feeling that Karan was most likely going to be the guy in place of, Braxton Jones, and he was just kind of there, uh, having a moment to himself. I mean, this is a big game for him, playing on the road, Monday Night Football, first career start as a third round draft pick who, hasn't had obviously a lot of playing time this season, but it's going to be counted on in this one. And Hoge, you were talking about what matters most in this game. Well, Caleb Williams surviving matters most, and Karan Amagagi's going to play a part in that happening or not happening.
Sad Bears fan shout about Karan legacy game. I could feel it. Is an amazing chat. Good job,
know,
Sad Bears fan.
That is one way to look at it. Maybe this is a great draft pick, and we're just been waiting for this moment for him to show up. Maybe he has a great game. Well, I don't know. I will say, actually, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well,
okay.
I know
So
what
go
I was
ahead,
going to
Greg.
say. So, Nick, have you seen, because I know you are seeing people walking around the field, have you seen Kevin Warren walking around his amazing palace that he built?
Actually, that's the one guy that I actually haven't seen yet. And from my vantage point right now, I can't see the field just because you guys wouldn't be able to hear me if I was any closer to everything going on over there. But I haven't seen Kevin Warren yet. I've seen everybody else: Ryan Polzine, Cunningham, uh, Brian. I've seen everybody. Thomas Brown. But Kevin Warren's the one guy escaping me. I might take a peek just in this press box to see if I see him. But as of right now, Kevin Warren, MIA. But we are in his awesome stadium, and every time we get
maybe use the horn to find him.
I think that could be like a signal. Yeah, like the bat signal. This will just be the horn. I like this. I said it on Friday's show with Carm. Like the vibes here are awesome. The horn makes it. They have like this Game of Thrones type of atmosphere with like the graphics that come on the big jumbotron. They'll have the artificial snow in a little bit here. Like this is how you want to do it if you're going to build a stadium, cater it to who the team is in Minnesota Vikings. And, if the Bears can do anything like this and wherever their new stadium's at, they're going to be very excited to come to home games whenever that happens.
Well, first of all, I know exactly where Kevin Warren is because, and I've told this on the show before, in that stadium, go ahead. In that stadium, one of the little small features that they have is in the visiting owners suite. It's the same suite every week for the visiting owners. That's probably where Kevin Warren is, and they change the big framed photo in that suite every single week. So it's always like, so today there's a photo of probably some Vikings player tackling or sacking a Bears player or something. They change it every single week, and I'm sure George McCaskey is thrilled with that. So I can't wait to see what he comes back with, because he'll have some revenge.
Yeah. Maybe like a urinal cake.
Hey, Nick, you were okay. I'm trying to remain calm and focused here. Who do you think gets the bulk of the opportunity with Gervon Dexter Sr. out tonight, Nick?
I think I don't know if it's going to be any one person there, Mark. You have Chris Williams, you have Byron Coward, you have maybe you put DeMarcus Walker more inside in this game. And I think it's going to be a collection of guys, because there isn't just one person that can replace Gervon Dexter and his team leading, 5 sacks that he has so far this season. So I think really like the waves are going to be tested for every defensive lineman that goes in. Like the trenches are hurting this week against a very physical team in the Minnesota Vikings. But I don't think it's going to be one person, Mark. I think it's going to have to be a couple of guys that not only fill in for Gervon Dexter, but are also productive, and then give the guy behind him, enough that they get enough reps out of that first guy, then whoever's in that second wave. But yeah, they're going to be challenged tonight, and it's never easy when you have a guy like Gervon Dexter not playing.
No doubt.
What are you laughing at?
Matt Nagy's comment.
One word describe Dexter: replaceable, for those who are not paying attention to the chat.
That's not true at all, Nagy. You were replaceable, though.
Ooh.
Wow.
You were replaceable.
Don't you go at Nagy.
Yeah,
Don't
you could
put the guy who just got fired.
You could put Eric Bieniemy in your spot, and no one would know the difference in KC. My bald-headed friend.
Hey, Nick, you were at
Matt
practice.
Nagy, how many Super Bowls do you have since you left the Bears?
Yeah. Hey, Nick, you were at practice on Saturday. Did you notice anything with Braxton Jones?
No, and I mean he was in, the stretching lines, and it was interesting just hearing that, how yesterday or whatever it was, waking up with symptoms for the concussion. But no, he fully participated from what we were able to see, which is obviously isn't much. But it was weird not hearing anything throughout the week. And look, concussions are weird, but they've also been really, really weird with the Bears. Right. Obviously, everything with Jaquan Brisker. Roshan Johnson has been out since the last Detroit game with his concussion. Now you have this with Braxton Jones. So it has been a little fluky with, these head injuries and, how the Bears players have been coping with them over time. But no, he was there practicing and was engaged with the offensive line drills from what I remember on Saturday's practice.
I remember what I was going to say earlier with Karan Amagaji, the photo that Nick got that's on CHGO Bears, with him like kind of sitting there chilling by the goalpost. Minnesota Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Remember, he used to do that before every game. He uses little meditation sessions. You guys watch college football last year? Or no, you only watch it when Notre Dame's
Not
good?
aware.
Okay. Yeah, so like...
I didn't follow around J.J. McCarthy's every waking breath.
Well, they were in the national championship game, and it was featured a lot. So...
Just finish your stupid thought.
Well, I was just saying, maybe he was just meditating like JJ.
Nick, from what you've seen from pregame warm-ups here today, what can we expect from the performance of Vanilla Ice? I know he's on hand for the game today.
Yeah, no, actually, look, very detailed Vanilla Ice. Went through his routine. He said, like, hey, we need to do this over again. I was here, what, three hours ago, and he was just kind of getting the vocals going, but he stopped it halfway through. He was like, hey, can we run that again? So, that might be the best performance that we see all night is Vanilla Ice and what he's about to do here at US Bank Stadium. I feel really confident in his game plan, his approach to this. He's taking it seriously. He took it seriously in pregame, so should put on quite the performance here at halftime. Real quickly, there was a person here, just a staff member, and she's like, "Oh, it takes me back to high school." And I'm like, "Yeah, not really for me. That's not high school. That's maybe, right when I was being born. But yes, for you, high school." But it was kind of funny. So.
Carm was
Easy, Nick.
Carm was already 10 years into his media career at that point. Are you aware of one of his greatest hits, Ninja Rap from the great movie, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze? Are you aware of it? Okay, just making sure.
I am aware. Yeah, I'm aware of these. There was some. He was playing some of the good hits. So I'm really looking. Look, depending on how this game goes, you're talking about how the Bears are in the first half. Like this might be the highlight. So whatever happens, I'll be staying tuned in my seat, seeing what happens at halftime.
All right.
By the way, a tweet here I wanted to read from Jeff Agrest,
My guy.
from the Sun Times.
Our guy.
Apparently, there's another pregame show on ESPN right now at the same time. I've never heard of it, Monday Night Countdown. But Ryan Clark was talking about the Vikings uniforms they're wearing tonight. They got their new winter edition unis.
White on whites.
All white. Packers went all white last night. Vikings all white tonight. Ryan Clark said, these are ugly. They look like Northwestern.
You know
what?
Okay, Ryan Clark. Listen, buddy. Don't mess with the Wildcat. New stadium's coming after next year. Big Ten championship rolling right through Evanston. Nick, have you ever seen Jalen Johnson wear that mink coat thing that he had on today?
No, I have not. But Jalen Johnson likes his fashion, man. So seeing him rock that thing. Greg, you had a great tweet. Like playing a game at 7 and then the 101 Dalmatians at 11. Like I completely got that. So I mean that really fits his outfit today. But I haven't seen that. I guess it would look even more ridiculous if they get blown out in it. But if they win, I mean, like he's on top of the world.
Yeah, I thought it was a little risky of a move out of 7-game losing streak. That was my only beef with it at all. Did that tweet from Greg, though, make up for him confusing you with the other tweet in which you thought you were coming on the show 15 minutes later?
I was in a little bit of a bind. I'm supposed to meet somebody that I know here, and I'm like, am I coming on now? And I'm texting him like, I might be on, I might not be on. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to meet up with my friend from Iowa now that we have this whole confusion going on. Like, he might be out there, he might not, but sometimes things happen. Things happen. So
I,
with the
I like to
Hawkeye.
take all the credit and none of the blame here at CHGO. So I'll blame these guys for confusing me during the pre-show meeting because I kept asking questions. Then they would yell at me, which got me flustered. And then that I couldn't focus on executing the tweet properly. So it's bad coaching on these guys' behalf, which is no surprise because this is a trickle-down effect from the bad coaches that we have in the city that these guys talk to. And now look at it's trickling down to me.
We wish
So
you
you're being
luck,
one of the
Greg.
players now. You're speaking out now. You're
Exactly.
speaking out on the bad
Exactly.
coaching that's happening. Okay, I see what's
Exactly
going on here.
Nick, appreciate you. We'll talk to you post game.
All right, you guys. See you later.
There he is.
Our intrepid research analyst, Gary Ross has weighed in. Jay Cutler, 2009 Hoge, was the last quarterback to play a full season. Your first year on the beat was?
2011.
So no,
I was right.
You've never
seen a Bears quarterback play every game in a season.
Oh, so it only counts when you were covering the team?
No, I'm just.
You've been a Bears fan your whole life.
I said, you know what? Get out of here, Greg.
Woo.
Corey.
Woot, your mocking of Greg Braggs is missed today.
Corey,
He actually has earned it today.
you should be sitting in that chair, not Greg. Where are you?
Hey, you know what? Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm sorry that you have to deal with Braggs. I don't know. Has he talked about working out? Because he's been a little bit silent lately, and I don't know if he's working out or
I've been
not.
going. I was there today. I just stopped tweeting you relentlessly. I figured I'd not do that for 3 months straight.
The same guy that takes selfies in the gym with no sweat and all that stuff. He's always on Twitter on these spots. I'm trying to talk to him during the game. Hold on one sec. I'm in the spot. What's good? I'm Braggs in the stands. I'm like, come on, bro. Get out of here.
Spots.
I'm going to call them spots, too. I like that. That's way better. That's way better. Corey, hey, what do you obviously one of the big storylines, Javon Dexter being out in this game. It's an interesting thing because it's not like Dexter's having an outstanding year, but then when you have Nick on a few minutes ago kind of naming the guys who we're going to have to play in his place, and obviously Andrew Billings is already out.
Coward's going off tonight, Hoge.
Yeah, if you're the Vikings, what are you doing in this game with those guys out?
Oh, I'm running the rock, especially up in the middle, because it hurts so much not having Billings there. But Jervon Dexter was kind of next in line, the guy that was a bright spot for this team. And obviously it's been consistency for him. But to not have him in there being one of the leading sackers on the team and just his presence inside, they're definitely going to miss him today. And this is a game that I really worry about. I think me and Hoge were on the same page kind of with the scores. Like, I think this one is going to get out of hand in a hurry, especially the Vikings playing at home. I mean, I feel like they play so well there. Offensively, they get things going, and defensively, that crowd really gets rocking. Brian Flores with that cover zero, he's going to be bringing pressure all day. So this is a game I really worry about, honestly.
So if you're the Bears, Woot, how do you counter what you think the Vikings are going to do in their counter? How do you stay ahead of the curve here, specifically offensively?
Yeah, I think offensively, a lot of screens and draws, get the ball out quick. I think you got to do that against Flores' scheme just because he's going to bring the house. Why not a tight end screen with Cole Kmet? We've kind of struggled to get him involved. I would like something like that. QB draws, things like that, just to get them off balance because they're going to try to bring the house all day. So I would like for them to get the running game going too. It's something that we've kind of struggled with the past couple of weeks. So get the running game going and just get the defense off balance with some of those screens and draws, getting the ball out quick.
Yeah, Woot, I mean, when you talk about like getting the ball out quicker, that's certainly I felt like something they did well in the first matchup. So when you talk about from an adjustment standpoint, when you had success as a team, you almost want to try to carry that over. But like from your standpoint, when you were preparing for a team that you'd already played one time in the season, you had success from, how do you go about getting ready for a game where you know adjustments are coming, but you want to try to stick to the recipe that you had success with before?
Well, I think you just got to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Like stick with what's working, right? Obviously, you have your script of your first 15. You're going off that, and then you got to make adjustments off that. And I think that's something at times that the Bears have kind of started a little slow. So if I'm them, I'm really starting with the running game, really try to be the identity of that team, because I think if you can keep that defense off balance, bodes well for Caleb Williams, the offensive line and company. So just really get ahead of the downs early on, right? Get in a situation where you're third and short as opposed to third and long, especially because that is a tough place to play. Once that horn starts going, Greenard and company, Van Ginkel, those guys really, really get after you, especially when that crowd is rocking.
It'll be a good prop bet. Van Ginkel touchdown tonight.
Oh, no. Don't do it.
I mean, he almost had one in the first meeting, but Caleb had that nice little pump to hold him. Otherwise, he jumped that.
You know, Van Ginkel was a free agent, and they got him for nothing, and we gave up a second-round pick for Montez Sweat.
Well, Van Ginkel also is the guy that put that little forearm elbow into Caleb's back on a late hit in the last game. So if I'm the Bears and I see my opportunity to repay that, I'm doing that tonight, Corey.
You're going to Van Ginkel?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were out there, Braggs, you might knock him over because you've been working out a lot.
You're damn right, Corey. You're damn right. If somebody cheap shot at you, Corey, oh, my God, they wouldn't last 3 seconds. I'd be all over them like a hyena.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting side.
A hyena?
Yeah.
Why'd you go hyena?
I have your back, Corey. You're my guy.
I appreciate it. So, matchup wise tonight, what is your guys like? What matchup are you worried about the most? You worried about our offense against their defense, the offensive line against that pressure? Like, what do you?
Well, I mean,
it's clearly Karan Amagaji.
Yeah, it's Karan Amagaji at left tackle. But not necessarily in a like I'm worried about it. But that being said, this is a third-round pick. I mean, he should get the same treatment Velus Jones got. This is a pick that matters. This is a sort of an unexpected pick, scrutinized so far for good reason because it turns out he was hurt, and he didn't participate in training camp, and then he got out there against Washington and struggled. So, but hey, man, it's mid-December. Like you should be healthy by now. This is a real opportunity. You're in the NFL. It doesn't really matter where you came from, Ivy League, whatever. They used a third-round pick on you. Some people thought he could have gone earlier. Had he not been hurt last year. So let's see what you've learned this year, and can you perform?
Hey, Woot, look, props to the Bears. Play the guy. You drafted him in the third round. But would you have leaned on the Larry Borum because it's safer for Caleb? I mean, we don't see Karan in practice, so we don't really know. But based on what you know, would you have played Borum?
So I'm thinking that they feel more confident with Amagachi in the game plan maybe for him because against Washington they didn't really help him out much. So I guarantee they have a better plan going forward, like Thomas Brown and company, some chip help, maybe some tight ends to his side. But I want to see what he can do. I agree with Hoge. He's a third-round pick. You got to see what you got at this point. They feel that he's healthy enough. Larry Borum has been this year, so I want to see what Amagachi can do, but within reason. Right, I'm going to have chip help and sliding protections to his side to help out, and I think that's what you do if you're a good offensive coordinator. You help out, what you have out there.
I mean, just a reminder that DeAndre Swift's not exactly a great blocker. Roshan Johnson's got a concussion. There's a guy, Kari Blasingame, who you cut, who was active for the Eagles this week. You've diminished that running back room. You don't really, just as far as giving him help, I don't even love your options that way, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the tight end group, and I guess at times Mercedes Lewis and company, the blocking has been they just have to do a better job of just keeping that defense off balance because Brian Flores is looking at that saying, hey, we have a rookie left tackle. We saw what he did in the Washington game. We're going to try to attack him all game. So Thomas Brown, right? This is your audition to show what you can do against arguably one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked Monday night, and I think one of the big statements you had was, about this team needing to play with a lot more pride than they showed last Sunday. As somebody that's been a leader in this Bears locker room before, for you, now that the Bears have officially been eliminated from playoff contention, when you have 4 games left to play and you're on the Monday night stage tonight, like what would be your message to your teammates and the guys that, have a locker near you?
Play for each other, right? Play for the jersey. You play for your family, and respect. At this point, everybody's playing for their jobs next year, so nobody can put it in right now, throw in the towel. Like, you're out there competing. You're on a prime stage right now. You have an opportunity showcase, because some guys on this team are not going to be here next year. And here's your audition for the other teams out there. Guys are playing for their livelihoods, essentially, some guys on the team, and showing what they can do for potentially free agency. So respect the game, respect your teammates, go out there and give it your all. Like, you have limited opportunities in the NFL. They call it not for long for a reason. So every time you're out there, you got to take advantage of it. So that was my thing. Last week, I feel like they missed the mark. The effort wasn't there. Guys making business decisions. And you hate to see that, because there's guys that are chomping at the bit that are probably on the sidelines right now that would have loved an opportunity to get in there. So just respect the game, give it your all every snap. I mean, the fan base, your teammates deserve better.
Before you go, we'll react to this a little bit further after you too. But Adam Schefter on the ESPN pregame show talking about the Bears coaching search, saying they're going to go on a search to find a partner for Caleb Williams. This is the quote. You have to figure that they're going to want to get some type of offensive-minded head coach that can get the best out of Caleb Williams. Does that jive? Is that what you would be doing if Corey Wootton was in charge?
I think you got to go with who's the best leader as a head coach. Obviously, right, you have to have somebody that you feel confident. Like, let's say we pick a defensive-minded coach. They went the Mike Vrabel route. You got to pick somebody that you feel confident with his offensive coordinator preference. And I think somebody like Vrabel has done a good job with that. So I don't necessarily agree with just picking an offensive-minded coach for Caleb Williams. I want a good leader, a guy that has a winning track record and is gonna put the guys in a position to succeed. I want somebody like a Dan Campbell, honestly. Somebody that's gonna be tough, hard nosed, that's going to lead them to the right direction, because I think the past couple head coaches have missed the mark. And I think, Matt Nagy probably was the best one out of all of them. He had 2 good years, and after that, they kind of fizzled out.
I'll tell you what, there's another guy on the field tonight that I think the Bears should be looking at closely, and that's Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator. Now, that comes with some politics involved, but at this point, I feel like if teams can hire him to be their defensive coordinator, and he's a great coach and he's a great leader. I know you guys had Alec Lewis on the show the other day, and he was talking about how Brian Flores is like shows up to work every day with violence, like he's ready to go. I mean, I was watching that and I'm thinking that's exactly what the Bears need right now. So if you are gonna go with somebody who's not an offensive coach, I think Vrabel makes a lot of sense, but I'm just curious kind of what you think about Brian Flores as a possible candidate too.
I like Brian Flores as well. I think time heals all. I think if you would have said this 2 years ago, everyone would say, no shot he could be a head coach. But I think as time goes on, and look at the way his defense is playing, they are playing on a different level. He is elevating Van Ginkel, Greenard, a lot of these guys who are talented guys, but he's elevating a lot of their game. Their defense is fun to watch. He's hard-nosed, a Bill Belichick disciple. I wouldn't mind it at all. I know some people, the political aspect of things and what happened with Miami, but there's no doubt about it that he runs a tight ship. And I think defensively, that's what you want. Obviously now, who is he going to pick as the offensive coordinator? I think that's the key. If you go defensive minded, you got to have somebody that's going to pick a great offensive coordinator, because you do have your guy of the future. You just want to make sure that you have both sides of the ball capable. And then hopefully in the draft, they can build in the trenches, because I think that's something they're missing. And if they want to be a dominant team, regardless of whoever comes in, they have to build in the trenches.
I mean, if Schefter's right, it sounds like to me it's a direct path to Ben Johnson. That's where the Bears are headed. Hey, you guys just lost again in the playoffs. It wasn't your fault. They were all hurt. But come on down here, be the head coach, and beat Detroit. What do you think? We'll pay you a lot of money.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Ben Johnson at all, but I just want the right people around him, because anytime you have somebody that doesn't have the head coaching experience, you don't want to have situations like Matt Eberflus was in, where he seemed over his head. He didn't really have that consultant in his back pocket to help him. So hopefully they'll hire somebody that was maybe a former coach, that could be almost like a consultant for the team, or some kind of part of the staff to help out that new head coach in his transition.
When we went into this, I know when Matt Eberflus was fired, we said, okay, this is a 5-game trial run for Thomas Brown. And like even in this conversation, it feels like
turned out to be a one-drive
he's
trial.
been eliminated from this conversation. So
well, it's a pretty bad game.
Right, it was a terrible game. So, but there's 4 games left, and theoretically, because of math, we have to acknowledge the possibility of a 4-1 interim coaching. I'm just saying, like, I just find it wild. Like when we talked about Thomas Brown a week and a half ago, that we were like, well, if he goes 4-1, then he should be in the conversation. Long story short, Corey, have you completely eliminated Thomas Brown from consideration with the way it feels like most people have?
Yeah, I think I have. I'm ready to move on to the next situation. I think obviously he would have to light it up like unbelievable in this team playing on a different level the past couple of weeks. But sometimes the same thing happened with Matt Eberflus, right? How he finished the season and everybody felt great about it. Sometimes you just got to move on. And I think a fresh start is probably a great thing. And think about it. There are some really great candidates out there that could potentially be a fit, like Ben Johnson, you said, Mike Vrabel, Brian Flores. So I'm with the party of moving on, even if things are really well the past couple of weeks. I think you got to change things, from the top down.
He has a 0% chance of turning around this team right now, and it's got nothing to do with him. 0. That's my take.
Okay, but let's not. What I do think could still be on the table though is progress on offense, progress with Caleb. If you do hire a Brian Flores on Mike Vrabel, is there a world in which Thomas Brown returns still as the offensive coordinator?
Yes,
So
I think so for sure. I mean, I think what we've seen is obviously Thomas Brown, with the exception of that last game when he was just the coordinator, full-time coordinator. We saw the offense turn a new page. They looked a lot better. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but Caleb Williams looked confident. There was rhythm. There was timing with the offense. And sometimes when you throw in everything where you got to manage the game situations and call the plays, not everybody can do that. So all I want to see is offensively him continue to improve. I want to see defensively them be able to stop the run, maybe get some pressure. So we need some progress tonight. If not, I have a very bad feeling about this game at Minnesota. After them laying an egg last night, I just get the vibe that the guys don't want to be there. And I'm hoping we don't see that tonight. I hope we see some fight. I hope we see some effort. But the Vikings are a good team. And at home, they can get out on you quick.
Hey, Woo, before you go, you said Dan Campbell. Did you like it when he went onside kick down 10 with 12 minutes to go?
No, I didn't like that at all. But I think at the point, hopefully he learned his lesson. Just like last year in the playoffs, you got to take the points in the situation. But I think he's like, man, we got one loss at this point. Let me try something crazy. So I think that's what it is. You know, when you win that many games, you can make some bonehead decisions like that. But I just didn't understand that. When it comes time to the playoffs, he cannot make those type of decisions. I'll tell you that.
That was wild. I did not agree with that.
Did take accountability though post game. Gotta give him that.
He did, and by the way, that defense is so bad that he's like, "You guys suck, so I might as well just do this." Which is why, Don Burr, you're in deep trouble.
Yeah, not looking good. All right, Woot, appreciate you. We'll talk to you post game.
All right, sounds good, fellas.
All right, Corey Wootton. We'll have him on post game. By the way, Lance Briggs is going to join us for the entire post game after the game.
Let's go. Let's go, Lance.
Yeah. So we're going to have Lance in studio with us all post game. We're going to still do our players only segment with Woot joining us remotely too. So I got a lot coming up. By the way, before we start our prop bets, I'd like to give you one obvious one I'd like to share with you all because it's a limited time offer available only today, possibly. And that is, you could get the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if you've heard of the Chiefs. They win lots of Super Bowls. They have Patrick Mahomes. They also have probably the best defense if you're going to do the at least the Lions and Bills. Eagles, Vic Fangio, that's a different story. But if you'd like to get the Chiefs at plus 600 to win the Super Bowl, is the 4th highest favorites right now. A little bonus on Mahomes having a little minor ankle issue for a couple of weeks. I would go ahead and do that investment now. They're the Chiefs. They keep winning.
I like your play there. I also think the Eagles are getting more and more interesting by the minute. Winning, and also Jalen Carter starting a riot on their bench.
Who's Jalen Carter?
Oh, I think the Bears could have drafted him, but they traded him for a 4th round pick and drafted. I think it's Darnell Wright.
That's great. By the way, as we get to our actual prop bets for this game, another guy, maybe you've heard of him, Justin Jefferson. Pretty good at football.
You going with Justin? Interesting.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. I am going to go with Justin Jefferson to, he's going to score a touchdown tonight. Does Justin Jefferson score a touchdown?
Yes.
Carm?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're going to say yes, why not the first of the game? Because we know the Bears don't score first. So I would recommend if you're going to do a first TD prop, you pick a Viking, and then you look at the Vikings players, and you're like, ooh, which one of these players is good at football? And had kind of a quiet game against the Bears a few weeks ago and probably wants to have a bigger game. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson, scores first touchdown of the game.
How about
that is plus 600.
Side bet post-game show. If the Vikings score first, I'll take Aaron Jones, and you can have Justin Jefferson. Thank you.
Thomas Brown scoring? What are the odds on that?
I don't know what just happened in my head, but I think on the ground from like 25 yards out, walking into the end zone.
That's a pretty good one, too.
Aaron Jones, 12 TDs in 14 career games against the Bears.
Right. And
that's a pretty good one.
Just cruising on in. His number, too, on I forget what it was, but I should have played it. It's like
all right, we got to get going.
63 yards. I got, look, Monday night, Caleb, you're looking for your guy, and your guy is Rome Odunze. You can get 3-1 on him. It's plus 315. Rome's catching a touchdown pass tonight. Let's the Bears will have a couple of moments that we'll love. That'll be one of them. Rome, Caleb, Monday night. Let's go.
Yeah, for me, I have a couple interesting ones, but Caleb Williams hasn't had a rushing touchdown this year. So this has kind of become my new Kari Blasen game.
He had one, but it was called back.
Yeah. So we're
It's the
still
only time.
looking for his one rushing touchdown. So plus 340 anytime touchdown for Caleb Williams. And then if you want to go on the other side, who more than likely will get in the end zone, being the Minnesota Vikings, with no Andrew Billings, no Javon Dexter, I think the run game is going to take a huge hit tonight. Plus 500, Aaron Jones for 2 or more touchdowns.
Yeah, I like that one, too.
It's a good play.
That's
like
pretty
it.
good.
Like
Steven, what do you got?
I got Cole Kmet, 40-plus receiving yards.
Let's go.
So the Vikings have given up 40 or more receiving yards to tight ends 6 times. The times they haven't, all terrible tight ends. Cole Kmet's a good tight end. I'm gonna pick him to go 40-plus. I got that at, what was it, plus 2? Hoge, you looking at it?
Yeah, plus 225.
Plus 225. And he also got 64 yards against them in week 12.
There you go. Hey, and your game predictions brought to you, as always, by Ray Auto Group. Please go visit them on Route 12 in Fox Lake. Got everything you need and a ton of vehicles priced under $20,000 as well. We had a clean sweep across the board with Vikings winning this football game. I just 38-20 is what I'm going with. Vikings, I just don't see the Bears defense being able to slow them down. And then, by the way, you're looking at this recently. The only time the Bears have scored over 20 points in the 7-game losing streak, it was against the Vikings, which you could be like, oh, maybe they'll do it again. Except it was kind of fluky at the end of the game.
It was, and it took forever for them to get going.
Kick. And
then once you had the momentum, you got it in overtime. If you really knew what you were doing, you would have scored, but you went 3 and out.
So I don't even feel that confident about the Bears scoring 20. So anyway, 38-20 is my pick.
Yeah, I went 27-19, and I, as a guy who likes to go the opposite direction of opinions, I tried to talk myself into picking the Bears, and the only thing that I did was have them hold it within 8. I was thinking about going by 30, that's just where how can you go into tonight's game and pick the Bears to win? It feels impossible, but that's why they play the games. But I couldn't do it.
Yeah, same. I picked the Bears to lose 31-20, but to your point, this team I find to be, as much as they have been on a losing streak, I still find them to be very unpredictable of how they're actually going to play in the game. And, this 7-game losing streak has been a roller coaster, and there's been 4 games they should have won and 3 games they didn't show up. So I have no idea. It's Monday Night Football. I would imagine for every guy growing up, that's their dream to play on that stage. So I think that there will be a sense of urgency just from a human nature standpoint. I'm sure Caleb Williams wants to put on a show. So, and I'm sure they want to bounce back after the bad taste in their mouth from last Sunday's game. So I have no idea how this team's going to come out week to week to end this year. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Bears play completely opposite of the way they did last week against San Francisco.
To the Super Chats we go. Let's get Crystal in here. $5. Running 2 miles before the game. As something weird's happening behind the scenes that I shouldn't mention. But Crystal, the fact that you're going 2 miles before the game is one of the greatest moments in the history of this show. Sending love early, guys. Bears 21-19. Bear
nice
down,
job,
Hoge.
Crystal.
I'm assuming that was something in the Bulls game.
Well, they're doing a pregame show, right? The CHGO
No, the game
Bulls
started.
Oh, the game.
The Bulls are up 18 to 15.
Are they doing a live watch along? Okay, so
Dave is excited about the fact that somebody made a layup.
It does say on my phone that Talon Horton Tucker just made a layup.
There it is.
So maybe that was what
Did you
happened.
see how many threes were missed in the game Friday night?
No, I did not.
75.
Really?
75 between both the Hornets and the Bulls.
I watched Talon Horton.
75.
NBA record.
It's the worst. It's the worst. Hello, Adam Silver. Fix the NBA. It used to be so great. It's so bad. Okay, go ahead.
I agree with you on that. Shane became a diehard. Bears going to win by 4. Now that's what we're talking.
Shane, let me tell you something, Shane. There are great diehards, and there's you, Shane. I'm not saying you're better than any of the diehards.
Kind of sounded like you were saying he was worse.
No.
That's
what are
right
you?
there.
What are you saying?
Anybody who goes diehard at this moment in Bears time is a man that when the chips are down, he continues to fight. And that's what I like about Shane. Shane is a guy that, it's easy to, as MJ would say, it's easy to, talk cocky when you're ahead or when it's tied. This guy, when he's behind.
Talk what?
When he's behind, Shane's my guy.
Did you say talk cocky?
Yeah, I did.
I think you did.
Talk, be cocky.
Oh, you actually meant to say that.
I did.
Because it almost sounded like you said talk hockey.
I was confused.
But then you said talk cocky, and we know that's what you refer to as your mixed drinks.
Kickoff in 3 minutes. The GOAT. Mark Gauthier.
The
I
GOAT.
keep forgetting this game isn't at 7:15. This is so weird.
Keep on adding on comments.
Don't worry, I'll put it in the rundown and on Slack and mention it in the meeting, and then maybe you'll believe us.
Then write it on a brick and hit it over my head.
Nobody wants to go watch the game, so we're actually not in a hurry, but keep going.
I know, but I thought we were going to get dinner.
Yeah.
I hate primetime games. Hopefully the Bears will play well. Both will join you at 4 a.m. for the post games. And subscribe. That's right. Hit subscribe. And, yeah, shout out to the Bears fans in Europe tonight, man.
You're awesome.
I highly recommend you go to bed. But if you don't, well, here's what you should do. Go to bed, but then set an alarm for the end of the game and then join us on the post-game show. We'll tell you everything you missed, and you'll be more rested. That sounds like a win-win.
Stay up. You only live once.
Another one from Mark, $10. Oh, is that the same one? I thought there were 2 up there.
Just read it.
He was just fixing his
okay.
mistakes.
Gotcha.
There.
All right. Buddy, $20.
The Dornbrocker.
The Dornbrocker. Just wondering if the Bears were having a season like Detroit or whoever, what would we have to talk about every day? Love y'all, and I would like a diehard shout out, please.
You know what I love about?
First of all, before you do your diehard thing,
Yeah.
we would talk about, possibly having the number 1 seed, playoff seeding, injuries that actually affect possibly winning the Super Bowl.
People wouldn't be threatening me.
Boring things like that.
Buddy, you know what I appreciate about you? You're not.
My show with Sam Laporta would have a lot better vibes right now.
You're not just a buddy to the people that are in your close circle. You're a buddy to anybody that you see on the street. You see the good in people. You have empathy oozes from you, buddy, and that's why you're my buddy. And I can't wait till we meet in person to truly bond the way me and you and all the buddies out there, and the Dornbrocks for that matter, should do.
Aaron,
we got to go.
Are we going Chubbs? Chubbs, $2. I want to win. I don't care. Good for you, Chubbs.
Good attitude, Chubbs.
Well, I don't care that you don't care.
Aaron Owens, $5. Sorry if you guys brought this up already. Can we talk more about Joe Brady and Liam Cohen? Please?
Yes, we'll do it later in the week.
We got a whole month. We'll spend the shows on everyone. Purple Dicka, $5. We need an offensive-minded head coach. Christopher $5 was front row behind the end zone of the Hail Mary catch. This has been the most depressing season I can remember.
That's amazing. We are so sorry that happened to you, Christopher. But can you send us pictures of you being there? Because that'd be amazing.
All right.
All right. Have a good one. We're gonna just replay this for the post game show, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Post game. As soon as the game's over, Lance Briggs will be here. Come join us. Talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.